Welcome back. The next company in today's episode is Genetix Biotech Asia, which is one of the oldest and the finest enterprise in the life sciences space. Genetix proudly takes the credit for building brands for the most global life sciences companies from the Silicon Valley and Europe. I interacted earlier with Mr. Arun Prakash, the CEO of the company, who talked about the company's journey, innovation, projects, products, and vision for the future. Have a look. What is the core area of competence of the company, and what is the USP of the company that differentiates it from the rest of its competitors?
Well, from the very beginning, having focused on in the life science also into molecular and cell biology, most companies in this area were brought to India by Genetix first time. Large part of the product that went into this space were consumables, were from minus 80 degree storage and shipping to ambient temperature products. So that was the most difficult task of being able to provide the products to customers in the right condition. We've been a key provider, supplier in terms of consumables. So we've always focused on providing consumables to our customers, which meant you have to have stocks of the products. So you have to be able to supply on a call. And that's why, as I said, over a period of time, we have built up in supplying over 20,000 SKUs from our warehouse. So in terms of infrastructure, you needed an infrastructure where you could store the products, you could supply it all over the country. So you needed infrastructure in different locations of the country. So we are actually almost a one-stop shop for whole gamut of consumables that are required in the research or production in the life science space.
So it was in 2010 when you started the Genetix brand, and in 2011 you diversified into the core healthcare sector with medical devices, with the formation of 365 Medical. So how did this idea of diversification help you in growing further?
The core area has been life science research area. We were only a small bit of us were in the healthcare business in terms of diagnostics. Our strength was molecular diagnostics for a couple of years, and that gave us a foothold in the healthcare, in the hospital businesses. We have been very upbeat about how the life science space has been growing in last 10 years, 15 years. But in last 5-6 years, there have been dramatic cuts in the funding that has gone into government research centers, or even there has been a lot of uncertainty in terms of investments coming in biotech area, both in private and as well as government sector, which was making us a little difficult to survive as having grown into a large organization. And we thought that healthcare is one area where there would never be a recession or a fall in on business. So we thought of having been present in diagnostic business, we should get into a real core healthcare area. And one of the good ideas was to get into medical devices. So we got into a business of medical devices almost, I would say, 6-7 years ago now, in 2010. Again, we focused on the products that we had from one American company called Convatec. They were more in the advanced wound management, ostomy, and critical care. But having got into that area, we realized that wound care area is something which is not so developed. So today's our focus is in the healthcare is on advanced wound management and derma products.
What is the major product range offered by Genetix Biotech Asia?
We built up a huge portfolio actually, and as I said, our focus from very beginning had been consumables. So we have reagents, a lot of reagents that go into research, a lot of plastics, reusable or disposable specialized plastics that are made specially for research and in cell culture. And then we have other consumables or disposables, including small instrumentation, tabletop instruments. So as I said, all these products are focused towards research in molecular or cell biology, cell culture, or diagnostics.
What is your vision for the future of the company?
We have 3 business verticals within our organization. One is our research or life science, where we service customers who are doing research, both government funded or private funded customers, which is good 45% of our revenue, right? That has been that's been our core business from the beginning then when we started, which was, I would say 99% business was research in I would say 10 years ago. We hopefully we will continue to service that. The second business vertical in the organization is, we call it a bioprocess. So here we service customers who are doing R&D and doing production of therapeutics, biotherapeutics, vaccines or anti-cancer drugs. This is one area which has been our core strength in last 10 years. This business has really grown. Today is probably the biggest business segment for us. We do almost 50% of revenue out of these customers. We do hand-holding from an R&D to scale up into productions. So here it is a long journey to be able to be validated as a good supplier, as a good vendor. It takes a long time to get your product in, but once your product is in, you got to stay there for a long time. We are servicing almost, I would say, 99% accounts in the country who are, so we are one of the key suppliers to them. That's the second business area that has been growing for us. This is, I'm very confident, will continue to grow, and I'm looking at developing a larger portfolio or services for them in the coming years. The third one was our healthcare, which was earlier called as diagnostics, but has been, now we mixed it up and call it broader term as healthcare. And as I said, we've carved this out into another organization, which is 365 Medical. We're still learning that business in the core healthcare area, and I think that would be one of our key revenue areas of growth, the growth engines. I see that happening in next probably maximum 3 years.
Genetix is one of the few companies having its own custom bonded warehouse to deliver the products in the shortest possible time, and wet lab to train and guide customers and help in troubleshooting any complaints. And all of this makes Genetix one finest enterprise in the life sciences space. With this, we come to the end of this episode. I will be back next week with the success stories of few other SMEs. Till then, goodbye and take care.